everyone. You're listening to The Future of Food Is You, a production of the Cherry Bombe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Abena Anim-Somuah, and each week I talk to emerging talents in the food world, and they share what they're up to, as well as their dreams and predictions for what's ahead. I love this new generation of chefs, bakers, and creatives making their way in the worlds of food, drink, media, and tech. Today's guest is Madeline Bach, the New York City-based cake artist behind Frosted Hag. If you haven't seen Frosted Hag's cakes before, definitely visit her Instagram for a peek at her colorful maximalist creations. In this episode, Madeline and I discuss the inspiration behind her cakes, her time working as a gallerina at a Lower East Side art gallery, and the meditative state she gets in while baking. Madeline and I also talk about why she loves being on the other side of a celebration. Stay tuned for our chat. If you're an aspiring magazine collector, you need to check out Cherry Bombe. Each issue is thick and lush and celebrates women and culinary creatives via gorgeous photography and great stories and recipes. Whether you collect magazines, read them and pass them along to your friends, or cut them up for your vision boards or collages, you'll love Cherry Bombe. You can find Cherry Bombe wherever indie magazines are sold. Places like Casa Magazines in New York City, Brookline Booksmith in Brookline, Massachusetts, and Omnivore Books in San Francisco. Or visit cherrybombe.com to order an issue today. Now let's check in with today's guest. Madeline, thank you so much for joining us on The Future of Food Is You.
Having me.
And it's your first podcast,
It's
so
my
congratulations.
first pod.
Well, we always like to start off by asking our guests, can you tell us where you grew up and how did food show up in your life?
So I grew up in beautiful South Jersey, about 10 minutes outside of Philadelphia. My dad cooked a lot. My mom worked quite late when I was growing up. We just had Emeril Lagasse on the TV all the time. We had Guy Fieri on, Martha. The Food Network was just always blasting, and he was always making anything. Then obviously a lot of just like really loving home-cooked Italian meals, and then a gorgeous balance of fast food. I had my first Big Mac, and I was like, I need to eat this every day. My dad was like, sure, see how that feels. And then I got cut off, but I was always just like, eat whatever.
If your dad was to have a menu, what would be on that menu?
He loves the stew.
Hearty, healthy, fills a crowd.
Yeah, super hearty. He loves baking now. He sends me a lot of cake photos, and he'll just bake a crazy banana, strawberry, carrot cake, raisin pile. So he's really creative.
A pile. That's very generous.
It's basically a pile. It's a beautiful pile, but it's a whole variety of that. And then when I was home for COVID, I cooked a lot with my parents every day. That's where I really started cooking myself. Mm-hmm. So we had the whole sourdough attack and just learned a lot together with that.
I hope we have a graveyard for all the sourdough that were ambitiously started but never...
R.I.P.
Yeah. Being in South Jersey, you're so close to the city. So you move here for school. And like any NYC college student, you got to make a couple bucks to make life work. And you find a job at a local bake shop after you graduate. How did you get the gig, and what was some of the most important lessons you learned at that time?
I kept failing my math requirement at NYU, even though I was an art major. They needed me to do that. I was on a temporary leave, and I went into this bakery on my birthday in 2017, and they had a hiring sign, and I was with my roommate at the time, who's an amazing chef, and she was like, girl, get a job, go do that. So I started, and it was my first kitchen job. And so it really taught me the ins and outs of what it's like to have a storefront business in New York, what it's like to actually clean, deep clean. Super importantly, how to work in such a small space, which carries on with me today because my kitchen is tiny.
That's just New York for you.
Yeah. And just, so much. I feel like I didn't know how to do anything before that job, kind of. And it was like I took so much under. Learned so much patience, so much about communicating with others and working in a team.
And were you front of house and transitioned to back of house, or were you mostly in the back learning how to make?
So I started off just doing counter serving, dishes, and then I always wanted to be the girl that was frosting the cakes in the front. And so I slowly made my way towards that. And then anytime I did, they would be like, we can't,
it's a nice
crazy.
Pile. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the pile again.
Yeah.
But then I would go in super early. I would have class at 4 p.m. I would go into the bakery at 6. And my coworker, who knew how to frost cakes, she would leave a cake for me. And she'd be like, do whatever to this practice. I can wipe it off. I can fix it. So eventually I got my
Wow.
way. And then I was the one that was doing the Valentine's Day shift that was
Wow.
got
Happy
40 cakes
Valentine's
at once.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will never forget the tremble of my hands writing on a cake.
It's so cool that you said you always want to be the girl frosting the cake, because then, you start to make cakes on your own and you become what is known as the Frosted Hag, or your nom de plume, so to speak. I was just getting dinner with some friends last night. I was telling them about this interview, and they're like, I am obsessed with the name.
Oh my God, thank you.
So they were like, Frosted
Real
Hag.
ones get it.
And I was like, yeah, like witchy.
Yeah.
So how did you decide on the name?
I was making cakes on my own for probably 3 months before I made the Instagram account, because I was just like, what am I doing? And then when I was thinking of a name, people were like, make it Maddie Cakes, blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, I just want to make it an extension of me. And then my personal account, admin reveal, is Tired Hag. So I was like, these cakes are me.
That's so good.
It's private. You can request whatever. But I was just like, why not make it Frosted Hag? I feel like that works. I feel like the energy, the character of the cakes is so haggish and so it's silly. It's the way that hags behave in folklore. It's like the exact foresty, witchy vibe.
That's awesome. And your cakes on Instagram, I love them. They're so whimsical and magical. I feel like they could easily fit into like Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette if she did like a punk version, or like Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland with the tea party table. Can you map out what the mood board for Frosted Hag cakes look like, and what or whom you're inspired by?
Both my grandmothers were incredible artists. On my mom's side, my grandmother was a dancer.
Very
and
cool.
then on my dad's side, a painter. And so I grew up with her literally just over my shoulder all the time, being like, you need to be painting, you need to be drawing, you need to do something, or we're not sitting here. So I feel like that always carried through, and I live with all of her paintings now. And
So
I feel like there's so many moments in those paintings that show up in all of my cakes. I have my own drawing practice as well. So I feel like the way that I classically learned how to work with color translates. I mean, I feel like I think of Lisa Frank all the time too, because I'm like, what's the most embedded thing in my brain from
truly core
childhood as well?
I mean, I know before your life as a full-time cake artist, which you just started doing in January, congratulations.
Thank
You're full-time
you.
on Frosted Hag. You worked in art galleries in Chinatown, which is like, I think it's so cool being in the art world in New York City. Are there any sort of styles or like people that you think also helped shape how you think about your creative process when you're making cakes?
Yeah, definitely. When I started at the gallery, so I moved back, I had made one cake for a friend's birthday. And then a friend of a friend texted me asking me to make their friend's cake. I was like, wrong number. And then I actually just started making cakes for people and selling them. But that was also when I started at the gallery. And my boss was always just like, you need to pick this up. Like, this is amazing. Keep doing it. And I was figuring out how to run that space with him and then also start my own business. And so I feel like being around all of those people and then just learning so many details of what goes into running any kind of business at that time was super important.
Yeah.
And then just getting to connect with artists all the time.
You have seasonal fruits and sometimes you have edible flowers. No cake really looks the same.
None of them.
How do you source your ingredients?
I don't go too far, too wide. I keep it simple.
Yeah, and you're in the Lower East Side, so
Yeah. So I love going to Joy's Flower Pot on Hester.
Nice.
They have incredible flowers, and I love going to Kalustyan's in Kips Bay. I'm going to run there after this.
Yes. Oh, that's such a
where
great
the
place.
dried rosebuds come in. That's where the rock candy comes from. Everything. I can't go in a store without buying something, especially if it has any kind of candy, food, flour, whatever. So I'm just I'm a hoarder.
Yeah, and just have a little treasure trove that you put on cakes.
Exactly.
That's really awesome. When it comes to the techniques and creating your style, how do you feel like you're coming to develop them now?
I feel like it was really through so much screw up at the bakery. I immediately fell in love with it and knew that I wanted to learn the correct way to do it, quote unquote, and then find a way to build that out from there. And I think it just kind of intuitively came to me once I did it enough times, served enough cakes, made enough horrible looking cakes. And I feel like with anything you make that's physical and creative, there's so much trial and error that goes into it. And you kind of really have to be all in it And that's where baking's also super healing for me because there's no room for me. I'm like, someone's going to pick this up and eat it, or their kid's going to eat it. Like, I cannot be thinking about whatever's going on. I have to be in the zone, and I have to let whatever happen after and just focus. And then I feel like when I am in that zone, there's actually a lot of other things in my life that get a lot of clarity. So the more that I do it, it's just more...
It's cathartic.
It's super cathartic.
When you're actually making like the cakes as they are, do you have a specific base recipe that you're using?
I tweak and mess with like just a basic white cake recipe for a lot of them. And then I'll add in certain flavors. I'll add in spices. If someone wants vanilla chai, that gets kind of worked on. And then I don't know how many fillings are on my website. I got to update that. But there's a bunch of fillings, curds and compotes. I kind of just work off of whatever orders people are giving me. And then I'm always using Swiss meringue buttercream. But when I'm assembling, that is it. The cake goes on and then there's some strange layer that's in some strange place. And then I'll put something on the side that was a scrap.
No two of your cakes look the same. Like I don't think I've ever seen one.
There are two that I think are too similar.
Yeah, but it's probably like they're fraternal twins or something. What I love about you two is you pride yourself on making cakes for other events. I feel like we always think cake, birthday, wedding, but you make cakes for divorces or even Harry Styles' concert when he came for his grand Madison Square Garden tour. How do you work with your clients to use cake as a medium to like celebrate and commemorate life events? People
either give me a lot of information on what's going on and why they want their cake, or they give me not a lot. But regardless, it's always a really special collaboration. And I feel like even if I'm just getting, these are the flavors I want, these are the 3 colors, there's always emotion that goes into each cake and there's always personality. And I feel like I'm always on the other side of a celebration or
good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad. Or people can get a cake for no reason at all. And that's amazing.
Is there one type of celebration you would love to make a cake for that you haven't made one for yet?
I want a cake to float in a body of water. I want someone to have an event that would make sense for that.
Because I know like the Paris Olympics are trying to get them to swim in the sun.
Yeah,
maybe
something
like
completely ridiculous.
The Olympic ceremony can be a Frosted Hag cake, just like floating.
Totally.
I like that. Respect.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I mean, reading on your website, and it seems like it's more than cake to you, or cake really has a lot of symbolism and meaning to you. You mentioned that without cake, your life would be a mess. Why is that something that you believe is a mantra?
It's so special to me to have learned, I don't want to say I figured everything out, but to figure out this craft on my own and spend so much time with myself and put so much of myself into it. And I feel like if I didn't have, the lessons that I've learned from running this business by myself and from messing things up or just figuring out every end of it, photographing things, cleaning my kitchen top to bottom, we're learning how to work in my kitchen with a roommate, God bless her. I think that structure is just so important for me and gives me so much purpose. And I literally don't know what else I would do. Yeah. Wow. That's really special.
What do you think is the importance of cake in society? I mean, we think of, there's so many instances of cake, the famous butchered Marie Antoinette line, like the concept of birthday cake as a flavor, as a substance. Like we've had the cake pop evolution. We've just had so many instances of cake as it exists.
There's so much cake.
Yeah. Or a cake world. Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. I think everyone's thinking about cake or in some way or another that's very different from before. I mean, I'm someone, I kind of dread my birthday. It gets worse and worse each year.
Really?
I get over it, but it's like the week leading up to it, I'm like, ugh.
The irony of being a cake artist and not liking your birthday.
I know. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I know. Everyone has a different relationship to it, a different association with it. I think people take it maybe less seriously now, and I think they kind of appreciate just seeing this object that's always been familiar taken to a different level and pushed in a certain way and then being used in a certain way. Or just like you can have a horrible day and someone just brings you a little cake and it's not, it's not a big deal. Or you can have a giant celebration and you can think about the way that you want to present a cake differently versus just something that's super traditional. And then if you want to do traditional, that's amazing too. Like there's so many different ways to enjoy a cake. It symbolizes like a real concentrated effort for someone or something and just showcases like real true love and personality.
Has there been a fun order you've worked on recently?
I just did a collaboration with MAC Cosmetics.
Wow.
Which
very
was,
cool.
that was huge. I would cry and beg my mom to take me to the mall all the time. MAC this, MAC that, always on my Christmas list. So that was really a dream collab. And they sent me 10 lipsticks from their new collection. And so I matched each shade with my Swiss meringue buttercream.
Wow.
And then made a cake based on the lipsticks. I stuck one of the lipsticks in the top.
Great cake topper. Easy cake topper.
Yeah.
You worked in Chinatown when you got out of college. You know, you worked in the bakery, but you always had this passion for art. So you were working in a Chinatown gallery when you started Frosted Hag. Actually, I think I met you at the time when you were still doing the both of them. Was there anything helpful from your life as a gallerina, which is a term I noticed in an interview that you brought up, which I was like, I love this, that you think helped with being a cake artist?
Honestly, at the time, I was always complaining because I would wake up super early, bake my cake layers, go to work, then come home and finish a cake. That was a lot. But looking back, actually, that structure was so important for me to get a hold on what I was doing with cakes. Now that I'm not there, you know, it's great because I have so much time to work on everything. But I think that my time management is going to be a little
better.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
We love that growth. What sparked the decision to move into Frosted Hag full time?
Well, my boss that I was working with at the gallery, he passed away suddenly last May.
I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Yeah. So he was always super just so excited about my baking. He taught me so much about how to do literally everything and was just such a wonderful, exciting, hardworking person. When that chapter closed, I felt like I was like, you know what? It's the time. I got to dive into it, take it slow, figure it out as it comes. But it felt obviously very, very bittersweet. But it did feel like, okay, we're doing it.
Maybe this is the way that you honor him and honor his legacy.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And, you know, you've been in it now almost 4 months. What has been the most rewarding and challenging part of navigating this new chapter, like fully committed to the hag life?
The hag of it all.
Good one. Yeah.
It's been nice. I'm just seeing how it goes. Yeah. I'm really grateful to have so much more time to get into everything. I'm grateful to have so much more time to myself. I have so much more time to document things, which was always such a scram. It's teaching me how to manage my time best in my own way. And then it's also teaching me that 4 months in full time, I'm grateful that I'm able to survive off of it. I can support myself right now. I don't need to be 0 to 100. I can actually just keep it where I am and keep moving and keep being present in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And not be so, what is everyone else doing? How is everyone else building everything? And da-da-da-da-da.
What's something that's been a little bit more challenging, you think, in this period?
More challenging, kind of be the same as what's rewarding, which would be managing time. It's different. It's a lot of time with myself, which is great, but then sometimes it's strange. And then also surviving is tough and just managing a schedule that has a lot of last minute curveballs. And then there's other side gigs that come in and I have to juggle that.
When you think about your relationship to Instagram, what have been sort of the feelings and things that you've been processing now that you're fully committed to it being online?
Well, first and foremost, hackers are terrifying. Frosted Hag is safe.
Oh, no, you were hacked?
I was hacked.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so
sorry. But it's
sorry.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But I would say that's definitely, I'm like, the internet is so scary and there are scary people and we have to protect our accounts.
Yes,
so
that's
definitely top of my list with that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think it can be really tricky when you have something that you're putting your soul into and that it's creative and then you're monetizing it and then it becomes business. And then you also see so much else of that and it can be really stifling. And then it's like this whole pageantry kind of just you get sucked in and it's hard to separate that from what you actually are doing, or it's hard to not let it affect your value in some way because it's just we're so oversaturated with what everyone else is doing. And I love seeing what everyone's doing. It's amazing. Keep doing it. But it is just the way that the app is designed and the way that our brains are designed to look at it is we're just like, we need to keep consuming all of this or we miss something. And then that takes away from, I could be standing up and making a reel right now or just literally making frosting.
Yeah.
But I just spent 20 minutes doom scrolling. And I don't think anyone is really immune to that. I think that comes in phases for people.
Yes.
And I think it's important to recognize what comes up for you when you do kind of feel this just gut anxiety of looking at so much stuff. I don't know if I have any advice on how to fix that.
If you could, let's say have a chat with someone at Instagram, what do you think the future holds for businesses like yourself that are really using Instagram to showcase and share their work?
I mean, I feel like the algorithm's a little weird, but I don't
Big
know.
algo. Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do about that.
Yeah.
I guess for businesses, I want to see, and I think this is generally how it goes. I think there's just so much other strange energy of the internet that is always filtered into things. But I think just really using it as a platform to bring people together in food settings and to make spaces accessible for people to have these experiences without so much noise.
You're in this really interesting part of the business and you have such great references to art and all these other things. How do you stay inspired or keep your creative flame going?
I'm always going to art shows. A lot of my friends are artists. That helps definitely. I love looking at medieval art. I love going to the cloisters.
Nice.
And I love looking at fences and just finding like strange, curvy, swirly patterns and things and taking logs of them and kind of using that as inspiration. I love fountains, just, whatever's outside. I feel like I can find a cake in it.
Yeah.
If I look.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you kind of think about the world in that way, like when you're walking?
I do.
Can I cake that?
Yeah, sometimes I have to just be like, you gotta stop, girl. Like, we're walking.
Just get to the grocery store.
Yeah, truly. I'm huge into music, and I'm always playing whatever music is, resonating with me at the time whenever I'm baking. And I feel like that kind of gives each cake its own rhythm.
Who are 3 artists that you listen to consistently when you're decorating?
Depeche Mode, 60,000 minutes this year on Spotify.
0.001% fan.
Yeah.
60,000.
60,000 minutes.
Just Depeche Mode?
I have a screenshot of just them. They're always my number one. I'm like, girl,
amazing.
I need to chill.
And I felt bad listening to 30,000.
Oh, no, don't feel bad. No, it gets crazy.
That's amazing. Wow, that's so cool.
Definitely Depeche Mode, Pink Pantheress, and Lana.
Well, will you like to make a cake for all of these 3 iconic
I would
artists?
make a cake for Lana. I feel like that would be...
Yeah, that tracks.
That's,
I
can... Yeah. That's it. I could go... Like, it's fine if I just
Pink
do
Pantheress, that would be a pretty cool cake, too.
I know, I would.
Yeah.
There's so many people, but Lana and Pink Pantheress, I feel like Depeche, I don't know if they need a cake. Like, I don't know, they're busy.
We're huge manifestors on the podcast, so we've just set those 2.
I feel it in here.
Yes, it's happening. One of my favorite questions I think a lot of people ask founders is like, what's the one thing you wish you knew about your job before going into it? And I'm really curious to hear, as you've been running this small business, seeing other friends in the industry, what's one thing you wish more people knew about building a business like this for yourself?
It's cute. You see a silly, extravagant cake on your feed and you meet me and I'm like, haha. But I think a lot of people just don't realize how crazy it is to do that many dishes with no dishwasher and then to go climb out of my window on my fire escape and set up a whole photo setup with lights. I'm not complaining. I love it. But I think there's so much that goes into it that people don't see because you're seeing the best side of it. You're seeing the final outcome on Instagram, and then you're seeing who's behind it. And I'm like, I just made a cake, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think, like having a better understanding of how intense and sometimes agonizing it can be to put all of that out there yourself and clean everything.
Yeah. It seems like you are really good about enjoying your process just based on how you talk about it.
It's fun.
The music, just like letting the cake kind of vibe. When you're not working on cakes, how do you find time to decompress and take care of yourself?
Well, I'm a Taurus moon and a Taurus rising, so I'm always decompressing.
Just on
I'm not working.
Always on a vibe.
I'm decompressing.
I love
just
that.
Instant.
Yeah.
But I love being outside. My apartment doesn't have a ton of light, which is fine. I don't care. But I go outside a lot. I like to bike a lot.
Very cool.
And
Are you got a City Bike membership?
No, I have a really rusty bike I have to fix up, but
Oh,
I should just get a City Bike membership.
it's the best. It gets you where you need to go. And I do like the turbo bikes. They're kind of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah. Get you across that Manhattan Bridge
They
quick.
do.
Yeah. Working for yourself and working alone, how have you found community with other New York City food folks and creatives?
A lot through Cherry Bombe, a lot through Instagram, one of our many blessings. And then, just through friends of friends. I've lived downtown for 3.5 years now, so I feel like I'm always bopping around and meeting people, and there's always new restaurants coming out. There's such a big community of that, and I try to surround myself with people that do those things and people that don't.
Any person or creative that you would love to collaborate on a project with or on a cake with?
Lana.
Yes. Does she live downtown?
No. I don't know where she is, but I would want to do I was just thinking about doing more videos and what I can do with videos and how fun it would be to dress up because fashion is one of my first loves.
Yes.
And I think a lot of my cakes could fit in with some fashion moments and just to do more collaborations with brands.
Yeah.
Something send me a crazy outfit. I'll make a cake in it. The cake will look like whatever you want it to look like. And we'll make a video from there.
What's one piece of advice that you've received on starting the business? And what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's listening and thinking about wanting to start their own cake business one day?
Some of the best advice I've gotten was definitely from my mom, where I was having a meltdown.
Life was lifing. Yeah.
And she just told me, she was just like, it takes so long, so much time, so much effort, so much everything to build something like what you're doing at the scale that you are expecting it to be at overnight. And you have to sit with that and you have to just trust it and let it go and keep doing what you're doing. Life is long. There's no limit. There's no age limit for me to stop making cakes. So I think once that clicked, that took a lot of pressure off of me and allowed me to really just get back into it and enjoy things more. And for anyone starting something like this, I would say start slow. Be ready to spend a lot of time, a lot of deep, serious time with yourself and what you want to put out in the world. Do it.
That's the biggest one.
And you'll figure it out.
Yeah. When you think about the future of the Frosted Hag empire, will it be just cake or will there be more things on the horizon?
Empire. I want to do workshops. I think that would be, that's next in line,
Love
definitely. That. I want to do more videos, like I said, and then maybe branch off into different kinds of cooking if that feels right. I've just been making rice and beans every night, so I'm not really ready to put that out yet, but we'll get there.
Hey, you can really mix that up. Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, so just collaborations. I would love to have a studio space that kind of just operates where I can draw in there, have my work in there, bake in there, have a kitchen, host workshops in there, have clients come in and do one-on-one consultations and just have
cool.
I'm like, please, where is the space?
Yeah.
It will come. And I'm going to do a show in Los Angeles in October at my friend's gallery.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's called Giovanni's Room. And it's going to be, we're going to have real cake, we're going to have fake cake, we're going to have cake drawings. It's going to be something.
Could you describe one of the last cakes that you made and sort of how you work with the client to bring it all together?
So I recently did a Kuromi-inspired cake, which is an anime character that I just learned about. Their colors are black, pink, and white. So I made a 4-tier cake using black rock candy kind of to mimic the ears, not to make it exactly the shape of the character. It's an Earl Grey sponge with hazelnut, cardamom, mascarpone filling, and pistachio Swiss meringue buttercream. There's also thistle on it, rock candy, purple statice flowers, amaranth buds.
What was the client hoping for with this cake?
She really just wanted to surprise her partner with the Kuromi theme.
That's kind of cute. That's
people
amazing.
Are really, really into Kuromi. I learned. I was making it, and then my roommate was like, what are those colors? And then she comes out with like a stuffed animal and all these books. And I was like, this was all in your room?
We're like, I've been living with the Karomi stand this
I
whole
know.
time.
I'm like,
Wow.
what else don't I know about you? But
Full of surprises.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was really fun. There's a frog cake also.
Oh.
That was a fun one.
Whoa.
Frog cake. The one and only frog cake I've done. I'm open to more if anyone wants one. I had a lot of fun with this. A friend of mine got it for his friend who loves frogs. It is a chocolate sponge with hazelnut cream filling and pistachio Swiss meringue buttercream.
Wow. So like rocks, mossy.
Yeah, very mossy. And then I
Mhm.
have like fake lily pads on it. You got to pick some things off, but that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
You got to really get into it. There's frog candles on it. There's sugar butterflies. I should bring those back. I haven't used them in a while. There is glitter cherries on this one as well.
How do you make a glitter cherry? Just dip a cherry in glitter?
You do.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Pretty cool. Pretty straightforward. Yeah.
It's crazy. I
Yeah.
get the green maraschino cherries.
Very cool.
Yeah, they always send me. And then I spray edible glitter on them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really
and each
cool.
cake kind of comes with its own lipstick palette because the food coloring will get on you.
Yeah.
But again, it's all part of it.
If we want to continue to support you, where are the best places we can find you?
Instagram.com/frostedhag, or you can order on my website, www.frostedhag.com. Or if you just want to say hello, you can email me at frostedhag@gmail.com.
Amazing.
And I'm taking custom commissions for all occasions with a week's notice, maybe 2.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Before we go, our guest is going to leave a voicemail just talking to themselves 10 years from now. You have reached the Future of Food Is You mailbox. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hey, Madeline. First off, you better have your driver's license. Let's get serious. I hope you're living in gorgeous natural light. I hope you have a dishwasher. I hope your screen time is much, much lower. But most importantly, I hope you're healthy and more than happy with yourself and the growth you've achieved and you continue to share with the people that you love who love you. And thank you for your patience, kindness, company, and constructive criticism during the ups and downs of the journey of life, which I hope you are now driving through. I know that Frosted Hag has taken you far and wide, and you're in the space you've always dreamed of, making cakes you've always dreamed of. I know you're probably tired and scared for whatever comes next, but know that I am so proud of you.
That's it for today's show. I would love for you to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to our show. The Future of Food Is You is a production of the Cherry Bombe Podcast Network. Thanks to the team at CityVox Studios, executive producers Kerry Diamond and Catherine Baker, associate producers Jenna, Sadhu, and Elizabeth Vogt, and content operations manager Londyn Crenshaw. Catch you on the Future Flip.